A little bit of a tech video today. This is my work camera. A lot of you might recognize this. This is a Panasonic HPX-370. And this lovely little thing here is the kit lens that comes with the camera. It's a fujinon XT17 x4.5 BRM-K14. That is the special that Panasonic gives you when you buy the camera, and it goes on the bayonet lock there. Now, this is a 1/3 inch aperture lens. It's designed to fill sensors that are 1/3 inch in size. And now there's nothing really too wrong with this glass, but what I hate about it, and I'm sure you know where I'm going with this, it's this servo. There is no way in absolute you-know-what that you can do any kind of a slow push or pull with this lens. It just does not work. And so, a lot of us at work had complained about this lens here, and so one of the things that they did was, we've got these old B4 lenses that are in storage upstairs that were off of Betacams. And this particular lens here is a Pegasus 3, and this particular specimen here dates to 1990, and it was originally on a BBW 400 Betacam. And now this thing here is a 2/3 inch lens. It fills sensors that are 2/3 inch. That's what all the old sensors were. And this is an early lens that was designed for chip cameras. And when it's on a chip camera, the Betacams, it does a very, very, very good job. And so we figured that we could get one of these, which is the photodiox converter. It's just a passive thing. There's no glass in the middle, and it lets you mount the lens for the older before cameras. I need to get this lined up right here to get it on. And it lets you mount the old lens on the newer camera. And believe it or not, this old lens here, which is 26 years old, it still sends to the camera all the signals that it needs as far as iris and zoom and everything. And so since you've got 2/3 inch lens filling a 1/3 inch sensor, you've got something like a 2x magnification right there, and then this lens has a doubler on it. So when you've got this on, this 2x becomes 4x, and this 14x here becomes something like 56x. Give or take. I know it's not exactly 56x, but you kind of get the idea. I was shooting football with this on Friday night, and when I was zoomed in all the way, I was like the 20-yard line. I could fill the quarterback's face into my frame with this lens, with the basic, with the 4x thing. But if you're going to use these 2/3 inch lenses on 1/3 inch cameras, there's a little caveat that you got to be aware of when you use these things, and I'll fire this up and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, so it's zoomed in now on, or I've got it on my YouTube lights that I use for when I do videos, and I'll zoom in just a little bit here. Now, this is the B4 lens, so basically your field of view is kind of would essentially be like what you would be using on a regular 2/3 inch camera with the extender turned on. So yeah, I'll zoom back in here and I'll put my filter down a little bit, and then I'll flip the extender, and that's how tight of a shot you can get. But if you kind of look a little bit along the edges, see how you got a lot of blooming there on the red, the color red coming off the light? That's behavior that I did not see this thing do when it was on the beta cam. And I'll pause it here, and I'll think I can even give you a more dramatic example. Okay, so now I am zoomed in on the viewfinder, and if this thing will stay in focus, this is an LCOS viewfinder, so it's flickering like that. You get that rainbow pattern. But anyways, right in the middle there is a sodium light, and as this thing decides to focus, watch what happens as I adjust the iris. See how instead of getting brighter or darker, it just blooms in and out? So that's fully open. That's like 4.0. Fully open, 4.0. Open, 4.0. Maybe I can get a little better on the flip out screen here. There we go. And so I think what's going on here with the lens is that because it doesn't do that behavior when it's on a proper camera with the right size chips, is I think that this adapter here is either interfering with the light as it's flowing back and it's doing something to make it do that, or when they designed this lens, they took into account the fact that the chips were going to be a certain distance from the back of the lens, give or take, like maybe a millimeter or so, and then designed everything so that all the aberrations that you were seeing would be canceled out by the time they reached the chip. However, it seems as long as you kind of run below, around 2.84, anywhere lower than that, that goes away for the most part. And so more or less, I tried about a dozen different lenses at work that we had stashed away before I settled on this one, because this was the one that had the least amount of aberration to it. So that's something to definitely keep in mind if you're going to be buying a bigger aperture lens to replace a smaller kit lens for a camera like this, is that you're going to have some issues with aberrations with your iris is running wide open. So basically, my advice to you is if you're going to be doing something like this, try and stay below 2.8, because that's going to give you your best results. And you'll have an alternative to the less than desirable kit lens that comes with the 370. So that's my little video for today. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.